Yes, thank you very much, and welcome back to the studio, where I am joined by 6 brilliant experts here, and we're going to talk about planetary defense missions and also asteroid deflection missions such as DART and Hera. And I thought I would just briefly explain. So DART is an asteroid impactor, and it stands for NASA Double Asteroid Redirection Test. And Hera is the follow-up asteroid that is going to have the Rendezvous spacecraft mission. And together they form the Asteroid Impact Deflection Assessment, which is abbreviated by AIDA. So I have a distinguished panel here. I'll just briefly introduce each of you. Dr. Ed Lu, co-founder of B12, and of course also a NASA astronaut. Then we have Dr. Johann-Dietrich Wörner, you were on the panel previously. And then we also have Hannah Goldberg from the exciting startup GomSpace. And next to you we have Dr. Patrick Michel, senior researcher. And next to you we have Fritz Merkle, a retired member of the management board OHBSE. And last but definitely not least, I have Paolo Martino, who is system manager at ESA. So, Johan, as you were on the panel before, I think I'd start with a question, addressing it to you. The Hera mission in October 2022, DART will be aimed to impact Didi Moon, and Hera is to arrive 3 years later. And this will, of course, play a crucial role in providing a detailed picture of the impacted asteroid and its crater. How does Hera and this mission fit into the overall priorities of ESA?
Yeah, thank you very much. This is a question, it takes about 1 hour to answer it. I will take my time. You see, in ESA, we have every 3 years, all the ministers are meeting. We call it the ESA Council at ministerial level, and they give us the money. So we start from scratch. Every 3 years, we have nothing, and then we start newly. And according to our convention, the ESA Director General has to give a proposal to the ministers and say, I would like to get the money for this and this and this and this program. So this time we have it in November this year, and my proposal consists of many, many programs. But one, what we call a pillar, is space safety. Space safety is something where we look to threats and hazards coming from space, like asteroids, possible asteroids impacting the Earth, but also solar flares and space debris. And I have a full-fledged program for this space safety, including debris removal, not only observing debris, but debris removal, to have a weather forecast satellite for solar flares, and the third one is to go together with the Americans to Didymos, Didi Moon, to see what really an impact on a small body can do, because we have to play billiard in space. We cannot do it as in Armageddon. That's not possible with an atomic bomb. That's not the right solution. We have to play billiard in space. If it's far away, then we can, with a small impact, we can deflect an asteroid. And our intention is, so the Americans will go there and have an impact, and we will come later to see what is happening. Not only just to see, is it deflected or not, that's a simple answer, but the question is, because it's not round as a billiard bowl, it has some shape. So where's the center of gravity, how to impact, what about the crater, some scientific questions. So it's an overall program, and we have it included in this space safety program. My problem is that when we are talking about space safety, I get always the same question from politicians: will it happen through my term? Will we have an asteroid impact through my term? Will we have a strong solar flare through my term? Will we have an impact of debris? And I always can not say yes or no, but I say the probability that something will happen in the future, an asteroid impact on Earth, is rather big. And we had a lot in the past, so we should not wait until we have the next one, but we should really counteract.
And with Hera and DART, it's going to be the first time in humanity that we sort of alter the dynamics of the solar system body in a measurable way. How do you see that? You mentioned a bit, but how do you see that actually, what does that imply for future planetary defense strategies in general?
The interesting thing is that in this case, we can really, a natural hazard, we can really counteract a natural hazard. This is very special. If you look into normal natural hazards, earthquakes happens, tsunamis happens, we can do something about the effect afterwards. But in this case, with the asteroid deflection, we would like to do something in order not to have a natural hazard on the surface of the Earth. Therefore, it is a step of humans beyond our tiny globe. We are not doing it with astronauts, but it is a human action outside our orbit, outside the Earth. So I think it's important. It is to secure the future, and I hope that I get the money. Very simple.
So do we, because being well prepared is really what we have to be. And as you have Hannah next to you, I just wanted to also, because GomSpace and ESA have partnered, and if you could briefly introduce GomSpace, because you work a lot with nanosatellites and a very broad spectra, but the partnership that you have.
Yeah, GomSpace is a company that's been around for roughly 10 years, working in the CubeSat world of nanosatellites, providing what's originally started as components and then built up to spacecraft for ESA and commercial customers. And now we're working with ESA to provide one of the CubeSats for this Hera mission. It'll be the very first measurement of the interior of an asteroid using a low-frequency radar in order to penetrate the asteroid surface and be able to take measurements and understand the interior of that asteroid and what it's made of.
Exciting collaboration. And Fritz, I wanted to hand the question over to you. As a retired, you mentioned to me, member of the management board of OHBSE.
Is that retirement, what he is doing? If this is retirement, I want to retire immediately.
It's called it's active retirement. That's why I had actually not mentioned retirement, but Fritz was now retired board member. So that means you're much more active. You have more time to convey.
Different phase in life.
Exactly. So I just want to mention for our viewer, if you don't know, OHB is one of the 3 leading space companies in Europe, and they specialize in high-tech solutions for space. So Fritz, could you share, what is OHB's role in the Hera mission?
Excuse me.
What is OHB's role in the Hera mission?
OHB plans to be ESA's prime contractor on this for the Hera mission. At OHB, we worked over many years already in this concept, put very much also that this mission may come true at a certain time, in particular also getting the German politics and responsibles for ESA also to support this mission, and we cross our fingers that this will properly happen in the November ministerial conference. But it has also to be an importance for OHB as an industry. On one hand, we clearly see that the Hera mission could be business for us. We see also new technologies could be brought in. A mission which maybe 5-8 years ago been thought it will be a multi-billion mission. Likely it can be done in 100 million, several 100 million range. And we see also a societal task in this, as in particular a family-owned, largely family-owned company, so to really protect Earth. In some sense, for me personally, I see this planetary protection similar, like, say somewhere, a vial with a deadly virus, and one day it will break. And it has to be a global approach to protect us from this pandemia, which may come from this virus. And suddenly, countries, borders, political systems, different societies, culture will not play a role, because this virus may affect us all. And so for me, it's very similar, this danger which is out in space here.
And it really is building that whole ecosystem and finding all of those collaborations that are vital.
And so through this collaboration, we clearly see this as a potential win-win situation. We do it for the agencies, for the society, but nevertheless for the company and for my salary.
And to benefit the world, in a sense, or the planet. Before I direct my next question, we actually have some kid reporters who I know have some questions that they want to convey that maybe any of you in the panel can then address. So I leave it over to our kid reporters.
How many times a year does the Earth get hit by asteroids?
I think it's just once or twice.
I guess 1 million times.
I guess 3 times, yeah.
How many times a year does the Earth get hit by asteroids? That's a great question. Maybe like 20, 30 times? I don't know.
Thank you.
So redirecting that question to our experts, how many times does the Earth get impacted by asteroids? Anyone wants to?
It depends very much what you call an asteroid. If you go small enough, you get a huge number, and you may answer that number directly. If you get a big one, still we have things which are several times bigger than the Hiroshima bomb. We still have it every 5 years. So that means if you see this one, I don't care about the tiny ones. I'm happy about seeing something in the sky, but you might have a real number for that.
Oh, we have about, well, it depends. If we talk about dust, it's about a few tens of thousands tons per year that come onto Earth. We have an explosion equivalent of one Hiroshima bomb per year in the atmosphere. And then if we increase in size, it decreases. For instance, the Tunguska event, which was 1908, and we celebrate on the 30th of June, celebrate if we say, is every 1,000 years. And that was an impact, an explosion of an object about 50 meters in size in the atmosphere.
Chelyabinsk, the size is already every 5 years, something like that.
Yeah, it's a little more. It's a little more than that, but yeah, it's a few decades, yes. But we are fortunate because we tend to live on areas like I live in Nice, close to the sea, so the surface of the Earth is not really populated everywhere. So the small events are more likely to occur where there is nobody. That's why we care more about objects which are larger, like above 100 meters in size. We could debate 50 meters, 100 meters.
And then Patrick, Michael, as you already have the word, I wanted to, because you're also working on other exciting asteroid missions, just so that I say them correctly, the NASA's OSIRIS-REx, and also that is orbiting the asteroid Bennu, and then also the Japanese spacecraft Hayabusa 2. What kind of science do you foresee, based on your experience here, out of these asteroid missions? What is sort of happening out of these asteroid missions? And also, why is Hera an essential to sort of mix asteroid detection and tracking and deflection that we've now been highlighting?
Okay, I'll try to do it short. So the reason why I don't wear a tie, by the way, is because I have a T-shirt which tells you the date, which was yesterday, 27th of June, which was the first time in the history that we got a detailed image of a carbonaceous type near-Earth asteroid. Before the 27th of June, in no book you would have an image. We didn't know what it looked like. And after this date, we had the first image of a body called Ryugu, which has this shape. Actually, this is Bennu, but they have the same shape. So Bennu is a target of OSIRIS-REx. Strangely, they don't have the same size. Bennu is 400 meters in size, 500. Ryugu is 900 meters in size. And the aim is to get some samples and to return them to Earth to study in the laboratory. And already Hayabusa 2 performed the first successful touchdown and sampling on the 22nd of February 2018. Hayabusa 2 even deployed some small rovers and a French-German lander on the surface of Ryugu. So it's full of success, it's incredible. Wow. And OSIRIS-REx went into orbit around the smallest body ever orbiting the solar system. So we have absolutely wonderful images. And these bodies are the most primitive one. They are very dark. You don't have anything which is darker than these on Earth. We believe they are full of carbon and organic material. We know they have hydrated minerals, so they saw the water. And what we want to understand is planet formation, because these bodies, contrary to the Earth, which is big and the material has cooked, therefore the oldest rocks are still young compared to the age of the solar system. These bodies still are small enough that they were never heated. So they kept the memory of the original ingredients that formed the planet. So if you want a good cooking recipe, you need the correct ingredient, and they have them. And moreover, we know that at the end of the Earth formation, there was a lot of impact, and we think that they could have brought the water and the organic material that favor the emergence of life on Earth. And by studying in the lab the property of the organic material, we already know for the water it works, then we will hopefully verify this scenario. Hera will be essential because, for many reasons. First, I'm very lucky because I am in all the NASA JAXA missions, and I'm very sad to see that Europe, after Rosetta, do not continue in this field, which is really exciting, and we have to participate to the international era of asteroids with Hera. And that's, for me, a very important point. The second is, of course, planetary defense needs to be a cooperation. And ESA started in 2002, was the pioneer in this field, starting with what we call the Don Quixote mission, which was the first mission to try to make a deflection. It was just a study. And then kept going with a lot of efforts to keep the momentum. And now we are here and we are ready. So I think it would be too bad to not do it. And finally, without being too long, there are two things which are essential. This will be the first time we measure the internal structure of an asteroid. Nobody did it yet. And we have a lot of ideas. We know the density of these bodies, very low. We think they are rubble piles, so aggregates. What does it mean? What will be Didymoon? Many uncertainties we cannot measure directly, and that will be the first one. And the second is the crater size. Hayabusa 2 made an impact on Ryugu, first impact experiment, but at a small scale. It was 2 kilograms at 2 kilometers per second, and the crater is much larger than our predictions. So now we start to understand why it's so large, but still it's a little crazy. And here with DART will do a crater at a much higher velocity, 6 kilometers per second. What will be the, now we are a little lost, because we see that our calculations are wrong, and plus the impact velocity of DART is the average velocity between asteroids. So we'll be in the right regime compared to what happened in the main belt, and we need Hera to measure the crater properties, to measure the internal structure, to really have a way to better understand collisional physics, which is important if we want to use the planetary defense, the first test, for developing other scenarios, other cases. We need a better understanding of the physics at play, and Hera will offer this opportunity with DART, of course, and that will be a wonderful NASA-ESA collaboration.
It's amazing what one, just by exploring space, how much that correlates to really doing findings on Earth. Time is running, but I do want to get Ed and Paolo in on the questions. Now, Ed, you and your fellow astronaut Stan Love invented a gravity tractor, a technique to deflect asteroids, and you, of course, also co-founded B612 or B612 with Rusty. Tell us why DART Hera missions are essential. I mean, we have understood a bit here, but to our understanding of asteroid and planetary defense out of your wealth of knowledge.
Well, I want to take a step back, and we're at a really exciting time right now because we are going to find and track an enormous number of asteroids in the next 10 years. And it's primarily due to telescopes around the world, including especially one called the Large Synoptic Survey Telescope. And our catalog, the number of asteroids that we know about is about to increase by about a factor of 10. And that means we are going to find many, many asteroids which we know to be coming very close to the Earth in the future. Now, to begin with, many of these you will not know their orbits well enough to know for sure if they have whether or not they're going to hit the Earth. So we're going to be faced with that, and that's guaranteed in the next 10 years. And that's why it's really important that we have in our hip pocket a method of doing something about it should we have to, because we may find something that's going to hit the Earth. And this is the first real test of human beings going out there and modifying the solar system to change the trajectory of a cosmic object. And I think that's really incredible. So in the next 10 years, we're going to see both our knowledge of the number of asteroids increase greatly, as well as this first demonstration. Now, a critical part of this is understanding, as Patrick mentioned, the effects of hitting an asteroid with a high-velocity spacecraft. And unfortunately, the spacecraft that hits it disappears in the collision. So it cannot itself do the follow-up of what the results of the collision look like. We can, from the ground, tell precisely how much it changed the orbit, which is absolutely critical. But you don't get all this other information because your spacecraft blows up in the process of this happening. And that's why Hera is particularly important. So I really am hopeful that this mission does get a go-ahead because I think it's critical to the entire understanding of what we're about to do.
Definitely. A quick one, because I want to get Paolo in as well.
The target of Hera, so Didymoon, and of DART is 160 meters in size, which is a size which is relevant for planetary defense. They are large enough that if they fall on Earth, anywhere they hit, that will have some damages, and small enough that the frequency makes, even though it's a small frequency, but still makes it interesting. And so far, we never saw 160-meter rock in space. What does it look like? And when I see the surprises that we had when we observed for the first time, even though we had an idea of the shape for this one, Bennu, when we arrived, and that's absolutely fantastic. For the young people, if you're in the space business one time, I wish you the possibility to be in an operation room and receive the first image of a new world with humility. You feel like Christophe Colomb arriving in America thinking it's India, and we thought something very different from that. And I think Didymon will be the same. What is 160 meters inside? Is it still dominated by gravity? Is it a rubble pile? Is it a monolith? It has a lot of consequences on our understanding of asteroids, and of course for planetary defense, because as I said, this is a very relevant size to do something.
Definitely. No, you have to have childlike wonder when you're speaking of space. And Paolo, I do want to get you into the conversation out of perspective of an engineer, because technology is also so important. We talk about self-driveless cars and so forth, but Hera also has an automatic navigation system, which is quite unique, which is built in. What are the advantages of having an autonomous navigation system in a mission like this?
The need for autonomous navigation comes from our need to get very close to the asteroid. So as Patrick was explaining before, those are small bodies, they don't have much gravity, so it's not like when you are around the Earth, what everybody understands as satellite orbits, but it's something that cannot pull you enough to keep around you. So the technical challenge of this spacecraft is that it needs to be very powerful to brake when it arrives there, but extremely delicate to move around the asteroid without, say, pushing too much and going back to deep space. In order to do so, with traditional techniques, like the ones that were used for Rosetta, for example, you do a series of trajectories that allows you to pass close to the asteroid. But these have some uncertainty, and we do this very far away. The communication time between the ground station and the satellite is about 15 to 20 minutes, so we cannot have real-time reaction. So in order to take larger risk and get actually closer to the asteroid, we need some capability on board to basically have eyes and use all the instruments of board to see where the asteroid is, manage to understand how the spacecraft is moving with respect to the asteroid, and then do the maneuvers that are needed to pass very close by without any risk of hitting, of course, the asteroid and making a second, much smaller crater, which...
I mean, so interesting conversations, and we could, have a conversation here for at least 40 minutes more, because it's vital, and I really do hope that this goes through, and hopefully this conversation has highlighted why this is vital. But it's also vital to keep on time, so what I'm going to do is leave over the word to Brian May, I think, who will talk more about the Hera mission.
Hera is going to show us things no one's ever seen before. This ESA mission will be humanity's first ever spacecraft to visit a double asteroid, Didymos. This asteroid is typical of the thousands that pose an impact risk to our planet. Imagine a mountain in the sky with another rock about the size of the Great Pyramid swinging around it. That's Didymos. And just the seemingly tiny moon would be big enough to destroy a city if it were to collide with the Earth. But we're going to find out if it's possible to deflect it. This is going to be really, really hard. Aiming at a 160-meter wide target across millions of kilometers of void. Could we stop an asteroid hitting planet Earth? The dinosaurs couldn't, but we humans have the benefit of knowledge and science on our side. Hera is led by a multinational team of scientists and engineers, humanity's makers and doers. Right now, all we have is many years of research and theories, but Hera will revolutionize our understanding of asteroids and how to protect ourselves from them. First, NASA will slam its DART spacecraft into the smaller asteroid at more than 6 kilometers a second. Then ESA comes in. Hera will map the impact crater left by DART and measure the asteroid's mass. Knowing this mass is key to determining what's inside and knowing for certain whether we would be able to deflect it. Next come our briefcase-sized CubeSats. If you think of Hera like an aeroplane, then CubeSats will operate more like drones, able to take more risks, flying closer to the asteroid, carrying state-of-the-art science instruments, eventually touching down. The scale of this experiment is huge. One day these results could be crucial for saving our planet. Hera's up-close observations after DART's impact will help prove whether asteroids can be deflected, prove whether this is an effective planetary defense technique, so that if an asteroid ever poses a real threat to Earth, we'll be ready.
Welcome to Asteroid Day. It's a pleasure for me to be here. I'm the founder and the scientific director of the Virtual Telescope project. And I must say that asteroids are big friends of the Virtual Telescope project. And every time a bright object is coming close enough to our own planet, we are happy to share live the view of the asteroid surfing the sky with the people worldwide. And every time is such a truly exciting experience. And I must say that people is truly interested about asteroids. They really want to learn more. And sometimes they are a bit worried about the idea of an impact. And for us, every asteroid is a great opportunity to share what we know, what we do, what we are learning about these truly intriguing objects. And the Virtual Telescope is always ready to bring real-time asteroids sight to you through the internet, and I love, by the way, the technology. And I also believe that asteroids have such a very important social value, because when people get together to learn together, I find this a very, very precious moment. And during our Asteroid Day, we will be connecting with astronomers all around the globe, surfing the skies, looking for new asteroids, new near-Earth asteroids. So it will be a truly excellent, a truly exciting journey, and I welcome you on Asteroid Day and have fun with these great asteroids.
Thank you very much, Gianluca. Now, joining me yet again now is Max Serres. So nice of you to spend your afternoon with us here in Circular City. I know you're a very busy person, but firstly, I'd love you to tell us about the recent collaboration, the Memorandum of Understanding with America.
Yeah, this agreement is the last one of a few that we have already established over the last years. So that's the eighth one. And it's really meant to talk with other countries that are really pushing space activities in general, but in particular the space resources topic. You certainly know that space resources has also a very strong regulatory component, and of course talking with other countries that will act also on the level of the United Nations, that's very important for us. We need to be a group of countries interested in and pushing this topic forward in the future.
We've heard a lot about that already today, in fact, about the collaboration across the globe. But tell us also about how spaceresources.lu has evolved since its initiation in 2016.
It's an incredible evolution. When we started, of course, we expected some reactions, but the reactions were simply totally unbelievable. So we are contacted worldwide from people from academia, research, companies that want to know more about the initiative first, and then also to work with us and sometimes even establish to Luxembourg to develop their activities here. And so that was just fantastic. It has put Luxembourg again on the world map of space. And I would say that this is really now a driver for us also to continue to develop this initiative.
Well, I know the Luxembourg government has done a lot to attract people to Luxembourg, and we're standing in a room here with some companies very much related to space, of course. What makes Luxembourg a good place for companies to start?
So for companies, I think we have an environment that is certainly favorable, multilingual, multicultural, so that's very important for companies that want to be active worldwide. Secondly, I think we have some sort of business-friendly spirit, and so basically we have a lot of infrastructures and services that can accompany the companies in their development. And recently we also have worked a lot on funding instruments, and we are currently still working with private and public partners to develop a new investment instrument so that we can support startups and, let's say, also more elaborated companies in the future.
Thank you so much for your time, Mark. We're going to have an Asteroid Day infomercial now, and after that, Rusty, one of the many astronauts joining us this afternoon, will be hosting a panel.
Asteroid Day Live shares with us the personal stories and knowledge of asteroid experts, scientists, astrophysicists, business leaders, and even artists, teaching us that to truly understand the origins of our solar system, we have to study it from various perspectives. Asteroid Day Live is the only programming dedicated to introducing you to many of the most prominent asteroid experts in the world. We learn by listening to them share their personal experiences and knowledge of how our solar system was formed, how it is evolving, and how we can protect our beautiful blue planet. But this programming wouldn't be possible without the generous support of major sponsors, including the government of Luxembourg and you. You play a critical role in our ability to shine a bright spotlight on the leading work of astronomers, engineers, scientists, space mission operators, and astronauts, our global rock stars who bring the topic of asteroids closer to people of all ages and remind our government leaders of the importance of funding planetary science. Asteroids play an important role in our lives, from the formation of our solar system to their extraordinary value for future resource utilization, to enabling ongoing exploration of our solar system, and finally, when they impact our home planet. Asteroid Day is more than just a broadcast program. It's thousands of independently organized events in 192 countries. These events are the heart and soul of Asteroid Day, as they connect and engage students on the subject of asteroids. For many students across the world, Asteroid Day is their only opportunity to listen to, learn from, and to meet astronomers, astrophysicists, and astronauts, heroes of the STEM generation. Your support enables the growth of our network of independent event organizers, so more events can take place. It allows us to not only encourage the future generation of scientists, but to grow our online library of educational tools, enabling more people to dig deeper into asteroids and to connect to scientists, observers, and astronauts. Your support enables us to meet the goals of the United Nations Office for the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space Affairs by generating awareness of what we can do to protect our planet. Please consider becoming part of this movement by donating to Asteroid Day today